Once again, my Christmas cheer was drained, for I always knew that my yearly sacrifice of diving headlong into the cesspit of the that industry was always coming, and it's always bad when this year had so many choices that it made it hard to only pick 10 games on this list. But of course, I am here for you lovely people, and I'm gonna show you the top 10 worst games of 2019. Number 10. My 10 spot on the worst list is usually reserved for a game that isn't buggy, glitchy, or has any real mechanical problems with it, but games that set awful precedents in the gaming industry. And Crash Bandicoot Nitro-fueled racing set a very bad precedent. After the political momentum that Battlefront 2 set off in trying to get loot boxes banned from games because they are literally gambling for children, Crash Bandicoot Racing launched with none of the microtransactions in-game. That way they could avoid having the ESRB label slapped with the in-game purchases warning, instead patching them in later when it's already too late for uninformed parents who already bought the game for their kids to even recognize. I don't like to use the think of the children meme too much, but at some point we have to recognize that children are having these gambling addictions instilled in them because of these games, but they're also exploiting adults that already have this instilled in them. And it just sets such a bad taste in your mouth that this is the reason Crash Bandicoot Racing is number 10 on the list. Number 9. FIFA 20. I'm a casual football fan, and I actually used to enjoy getting the FIFA games to play the career and management modes. But this was the first year I simply couldn't do it anymore, especially after I watched some of the reviews and fan backlash. First, I simply couldn't stomach the loot boxes, and for those of you in Belgium, you ain't worried about that anymore, are you? Just another reason to hate the Belgians, am I right? But it only gets worse. FIFA 20 launched in such a broken, buggy state that the players finally lashed out against the publisher EA in a real way. EA responded individually to some of these issues, but nothing to put the players at ease. EA will most likely go the 2K route and draw back some of their monetization, only most likely to put it right back afterwards in that subsequent release. And it only goes to show, sadly, that the industry only knows how to change when it will be forced to. Number 8. Left Alive. Left Alive in 2019 is considered a dated, buggy, glitchy game filled with nonsensical and awful storytelling. But say back during the 360 and PS3 era, it would still be those things.
Piece of crap AI.
The Garmonia army is patrolling the perimeter. I advise you acquire a weapon.
He's already got one! He's literally got a weapon! Look at his hands!
Left Alive is a lot like Metal Gear, but if Kojima only took 10 minutes to code their AI. Watch as you blow them up with grenades and immediately see their partners go right back to their posts. The ability to run through entire levels, ignoring every enemy, and host to the worst crossover ads ever. World of Tanks had to have at least funded the game partially to have the posters, collectibles, and world splattered with their marketing and the story filled with nonsense, trying so hard to be a Kojima clone and failing.
Why Square Enix decided to buy it up and stamp their name on it, I'll never know, as I expect better from them and know they can do better themselves, and this is just a train wreck. To see Left Alive in their list of games standing by greats like Final Fantasy hurts my soul, and if you want to retain your sanity, I suggest you stay away from it.
Left Alive should have been left in 2012, where it somehow spawned from. Number 7. Crackdown 3. Ooh, Microsoft tried to stealth release this one hard. They knew it was awful the minute it came out of the oven. Like when you try to go bake a cake and you accidentally made soup.
Gordon arrives early to do a thorough investigation.
Oh God, 10,000 times worse than I thought it would be. Oh shit. And crap.
It was buggy, sure, but it was so boring. I remember my mother not allowing me to play the first game because it had things like drugs, violence, and it was just this real awful game that would corrupt my mind. Crackdown 3 fails to have that same effect. If Crackdown 3 was Crackdown 1, my mother would have had no problem buying this game for me. It somehow fails to make mindless destruction fun on the level of Just Cause 4. And no amount of Terry Crews being loud black dude number 34 can save it.
Oh shit. Every fucking... This is disgusting. I'm closing it down. Switch it off. We're going down. Now.
Yeah, I feel like I've said enough on this. Let's move on. Number 6. WWE 2K20.
Derp. Derpity derp derp derp.
What? Where did he come from? Alright. I'm leaving. Leaving. What? Cedric. Dude, come on, buddy.
Just like its counterpart in real life, WWE 2K20 is a hollow husk pushed down on an assembly line much like the booking on Monday Night Raw every week. Another product pushed out of the rectum of the always trustworthy Take-Two Interactive. The game was broken at release, and though 2K is doing their best Bethesda impression, making patches that break more than they fix the game is, at the time of writing, still broken. WWE 2K20 is a lovely representation of the WWE as a company, as well as Take-Two Interactive. Number 5. Contra Rogue Core. You've played a Contra game. I know some of you have. If not, a synopsis. Contra is a bullet storm game, forcing you to dodge and navigate each level, all while putting thousands of shots back at the enemy. One of the best classic series out there. Rogue Core is a linear third-person shooter where your gun, instead of spewing bullets with reckless abandon, your gun will overheat in a Contra game. Not to mention that the game looks dated, the animation's stilted, the controls and camera get stuck in certain areas, making them completely unusable. If you're reusing the exact same boss from level to level, why are you even bothering rebooting the series? I don't know why Konami hates their game series so much. Oh, wait. They'd rather be in the casino industry. Never mind.
Fuck Konami.
Number 4. Fallout 76. I know it released last year, but does this look like a face that gives a shit? After poring over news article after article after article of the mismanagement, patches, fixes released upon the hapless players to fix minor problems, only for those patches and fixes to only turn into more game-breaking bugs. But you have the gall to try and hustle, outright steal $100 subscription and paywall lock those features that these players have been literally begging for behind said $100 subscription. You deserve to be on this list. I had some say, let's make it number 1 again, but I wanted to keep some credibility. Keep the top 3 in this list from this year. But rest assured, when Bethesda continues to push this thing on people and use it in as predatory a manner possible, you bet your ass it'll be on here again next year as well. Number 3. Death Stranding. But TenWise, you mean the game that was nominated for Game of the Year this year? How could you? You fucking won't, mate. 30 hours in, it gets fun. No, you won't. Death Stranding is lucky. I wanted it to be the first, #1 on this list. Ooh, I wanted it bad, but I still wouldn't miss out on the chance to shit on the Kojima-Keighley power couple. Death Stranding is responsible for the spines being removed from every gaming pundit, reviewer, and games journalist out there. I've played it. The enemies are scary a total of the first time you see them, because you realize they're the easiest thing to avoid. And even if caught, the bosses you fight are beaten so easily once you get the 30 power-ups and items from the other players that are helping you out. So if the enemies don't scare you, the bosses don't challenge, well, that just leaves the walking.
Years later.
When the biggest challenge in your game is being worried about Norman Reedus' rickety nervous system to stop this dick from falling over, you got some problems. Death Stranding is a prime example of what happens when you don't rein in an artist's vision. And that's why it's #3 on the worst games of 2019. #2, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Ubisoft has been amalgamizing all of their games slowly into one formula. Big empty open world, a couple substanceless quests, and then add in the freaking drone cam, no matter if it's an eagle or a GoPro attached to a kite. But when you do that, you would think it would be easier to make their games. No, buggy doesn't describe Breakpoint. Broken doesn't even broach the subject. Objectives that are uncompletable due to game-breaking bugs at release. But it would be fine if it was fun, but its cardboard characters and action is so uninspired. Breakpoint is a free-to-play MMO that swindled $60 from me that I will never get back, then demanded more with time saver monetization. And boy howdy, I can't wait to see what bland, broken new content comes in the season pass. Or they could fix the game as it is now. You want to fix your game? No? That's fine. Ubisoft Open World Clone number 42 is a broken, buggy, unfun product of publisher greed, and it has received its due scorn because of it. And #1, the worst game of 2019, in my humble opinion, Anthem. I don't have to tell you about Anthem. You know the story. And if you don't, this should catch you up. Mismanagement from day one, bringing up issues on overwork, the need for a games workers union, the need for transparency and the decency, the conscience, to tell your customers that the game simply isn't ready yet. And instead, they took our money and ran to the hills with it. Anthem represents where the industry is, but with political momentum and the gaming community fighting as hard as ever against it, hopefully it's not its future. But sadly, they will find another cow to milk, another stone to bleed dry, and of course there will always be sycophants willing to defend their favorite company. But at the same time, whether they would have to bow to the whims and cries of this Winnie the Pooh looking bitch, or saying and doing whatever possible to keep the manipulative and exploitative loot boxes and monetization that instills gambling habits in kids, exploits those same gambling habits in young adults, and continues that exploitation all the way until it is seen as normal. But thankfully, I'm not the only one ready to point it out. EA and other publishers could learn from this, but we all know they won't. And hopefully in the future, EA and all these other publishers will hopefully have a lot to answer for in the future. Hopefully the near future. Well, I want to say this was a lot of fun, but No, actually, yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was really, really hard to only put 10 games on this list. I could have put together 3 lists full of 10 games that could have easily made it on here, but I just had to somehow cramp it down into 10. But thankfully, we're done with them. These games don't deserve your attention. They don't deserve your money. They don't deserve your time. Let's go talk about some games that actually deserve to be praised, that actually earned your money. Let's go talk about the top 10 games of 2019. And if you want to see that video, go ahead and subscribe to the Wise Clan today and join us. My name is TenWise, and I'm out.